Hello, it's 6 o'clock GMT in the capital of Ghana, Accra. This is the Star Breakfast News on your Simply the Best dial 103.5 FM with me, Nurein Abass. Coming up this morning, organized labor demands meeting with President Akufo-Addo as they petition him over sale of Senate's majority stake in 4 hotels and other concerns over Senate's usage of pension funds. Meanwhile, governance expert Professor Bafo Ajimanduya has decried how state property are disposed of, describing it as a canker.
At a glance, yes, the optics are awful. The history about how we dispose of state assets is a very wretched one in our country. Look, with SNIT, we know this is not the first time. And this is not just the NPP. It's a national disease.
Also coming up, former Power Minister wants President Akufo-Addo called to order over the appointment of NPP parliamentary candidate for Timpani as Deputy Managing Director for BOST.
Why appoint a parliamentary candidate 6 months to an election? And BOST has never had 2 deputy managing directors. So it is also a new creation. So it is too obvious the purpose of that creation and the mode of appointment, which is illegal, which is contrary to law. And the presidency must be called to order.
And later, security analyst decries protocol list for recruitment into security services, citing it as a tool for political recruitment.
Enough of the protocol list, and I think that is what is taking precedence over persons who actually deserve to be part of or to be recruited by the Ghana police.
We've got details of these stories coming up, but first let's remind you of our affiliate stations.
Star News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, MyStar Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Star 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Star 103.5 FM. Star News. Informed, in-depth, in touch.
Many thanks to you for choosing Star News. Now, organized labor is demanding a meeting with President Akufo-Addo regarding the sale of some Senate hotels and other concerns about Senate's usage of pension funds as they petition the president over the issues. Yesterday, Labour urged the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafo Ewa, to immediately direct the Senate board to cancel the ongoing transaction to sell off 60% of its stake in 4 hotels to the Minister for Food and Agriculture, Dr. Brian Echampon, despite Senate's insistence that the process was transparent. Reacting to the development, the Secretary General of TUC, Dr. Yao Ba, described the sale as unacceptable.
We at the Mayday requested that we wanted to meet with President on this matter. You may recall that we asked the President to convene a meeting with leaders of organized labor to discuss SNIT, and this is one of it. And our reps on the board of SNIT had intimated that things were going on that required the meeting between President and the leadership, and we didn't want to bring this up in public. We still insist that the President should make time for us to discuss this and many other issues about SNIT that our reps had brought to our attention. May 6th, today is May 20th. We expect that the President will invite us as soon as possible because there are many other issues our reps have brought to our attention that we need to discuss with the President himself. We will not allow pension funds to be toyed with, and this is our last warning.
Meanwhile, governance expert Professor Bafo Ajimanduya has decried how state property are disposed of, describing it as a canker. He spoke on GH1 TV's State of Affairs with Francis Arban last night.
Well, at a glance, yes, the optics are awful. The optics, just looking at it, without even delving into the details. The fact that a minister of state, even though I know and understand that he started the process of acquiring this before he was appointed a minister. Nonetheless, he was in parliament. He's a known political figure.
Yes.
So whether he started the process before being appointed a minister, or he got it during his ministerial position. It's the same, and I think the optics are very bad. You see, in governance, there are certain things that even if it's legal, you don't do it because morally it's wrong. Mm-hmm. And as I said, the optics will certainly be awful. When a public official as high as a minister or a parliamentarian belonging to a ruling party turns around and acquire an asset of the state, because SNAIT is a state institution, then it's like self-dealing, even if you go through the processes. And in this case, listening to Dr. Kwabena Donkor and others who have spoken on this matter, apparently the processes were not as transparent as they ought to have been. Mm-hmm. So in that respect, it's inexcusable. So, and again, the history about how we dispose of state assets is a very wretched one in our country. Look, with SNAIT, we know this is not the first time. And this is not just the NPP. Mm-hmm. It's a national disease. Because years back, under Rawlings, under the rubric of State Divestiture Implementation Committee, yes, certain state assets were given out to that party's own people. We know that.
Cronies.
Cronies. In fact, party stalwarts in the NDC acquired these properties. Yes, but I don't want to sit here and mention names.
And was wrongly condemned at the time.
It was condemned. And that's why it's still sad that after these years and the condemnation at that point, we can come back this time again to sit and discuss a similar situation.
You heard governance expert Professor Bafo Ajimanbia speaking to Francis Aben last night on State of Affairs. Away from that, former Power Minister and Pro East MP Dr. Kwabena Donkor has described the appointment of Joseph Pemka as Deputy Managing Director of Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Limited Company, BOST, as illegal as he wants President Akufo-Addo to be called to order. A letter signed by the Secretary to the President, Nana Bediatu Asante, instructed the Minister of Energy to take the necessary steps to regularize the said appointment in accordance with the relevant provisions of the Companies Act 2019, Act 929, and the Constitution of the company. According to the Pro East MP, it is illegal for the presidency to appoint a parliamentary candidate as deputy MD to a limited liability company. Dr. Kwabena Donkor spoke to Star News.
Well, GIHOC has never done well over the last 5-6 years. They had consistently run at a loss. And one of my arguments is that if you can sell alcohol in Ghana and run at a loss, even the blue kiosk in Yeji, the operator operates it profitable. So there must be something we are really doing terribly wrong. Right? You don't say one thing and do the other. You don't make appointments that are not merited. You don't subvert good corporate governance in appointing people. There is a case where the presidency appointed a middle-level manager for Ghana Gas. It's never done anywhere else. So, and again, Ghana Gas is a limited liability company. Look, the illegalities in the public space. For example, we have the Auditor General purporting to be auditing limited liability companies. The law does not give him any such authority. The Constitution does not. Its own parent act does not. And yet, because such things are politically expedient, we allow them, leading to the mess we are now in the state enterprise sector. Look, I have nothing against the appointees personally, but there is a lot wrong with the process.
You heard former Power Minister and Pro East MP Dr. Kwabena Donkor. Before we go, security analyst Adib Sani is reiterating calls for the scrapping of protocol lists in recruitment into the security services as a way to curb political recruitment. It follows concerns raised by the minority in parliament accusing the government of secretly recruiting alleged party thugs and foot soldiers into the security services. According to the NDC MPs, their majority colleagues have been given 30 slots to fill with party members. Let's have a listen to Adib Sani.
We have heard, and as I said, that each parliamentary candidate has been offered 30 slots, 5 for each of the security services, the 6 of them. 5 for police, 5 for immigration, 5 for fire service, 5 for army, 5 for air for prisons. But let me say, so if it is 30 times 275 constituencies, it's 8,200.
So that was the minority leader in parliament, but security analyst Adib Sani says the phenomenon thrives because of what has been accepted as protocol recruitment. He wants the protocol recruitment scrapped to save the integrity of the security services.
Especially members of these vigilante groups becoming legitimized by state institutions absorbing them. And so it is now gone beyond the so-called national security absorbing these people. But there's been reported cases of even the Ghana Police Service giving opportunities to these